Hi, dear all. First of all, let's check our sound. Please, on the left side, you may see the chart. Please type if you could hear me properly. So if everything is okay with the sound, we will start our today's webinar. So please let me know if you hear me. So yeah, sound is good. So let's start. Thank you very much. Thank you. So today our topic will be KYC, Know Your Client, Practical Aspects of Procedure Application and Due Diligence. My name is Katerina. I'm Assistant Compliance Officer of Eltoma Corporate Services. So what questions we will discuss today? First of all, it's legislation. Then KYC, what is it? What is the procedure of Know Your Client? What is client acceptance policy? We will discuss three types of customer categorization: high risk, normal risk, low risk. We will see what is due diligence and its aspects. Also, we will discuss information about identification of documents, identification procedure for high-risk clients, and enhanced due diligence examples. Also, information related to legal entities and its KYC procedure. Identification of business risks, mitigation of risk, record keeping, procedure of due diligence and KYC and its elements, and also requirements on KYC procedure when registering a foreign company. Also, we will cover a little bit bank requirements on KYC procedure, cases where profound KYC procedure are applicable, and cases where clients could be rejected, and what is suspicious reporting. So first of all, we will speak about legislation. So requirements for the procedure of Know Your Client is mentioned in the third and fourth EU directive. Also in FAT 40+9 recommendations. For example, in Cyprus, this requirement is mentioned in Directive DI 144 of Cyprus Security Commission, and also any additional requirements may be added by internal compliance regulation of the company or of internal regulation of each country itself. So what is what organizations are under obligation under the law to provide KYC procedure? First of all, it's credit and financial institutions, for example, such as banks. Also, natural and legal persons who provide next professional activities. Auditors, accountants, tax advisors, company service providers, for example, such as Eltoma, notaries, independent legal professions, estate agencies, providers of gambling service, and also any other physical or legal entity who deals with a client or that deals with payments which are made in cash in amount of 10,000 or more euros. Whatever this transaction is single for this amount, or it's restricted for several payments, but in total it will come to 10,000 euros. So what is KYC? KYC is a definition of Know Your Client. It is a process of business identifying and verifying the identity of its clients. This term is usually used for banks and anti-money laundering legislation as well. Know your client is the process which mitigates the risk to be involved in money laundering and terrorist financing. The main rule of KYC is the better you know your client, more appropriate measures you apply to mitigate money laundering and terrorist financial risk. So it's the process of knowing your client. Uh, what is KYC procedure? First of all, it should comply with the legislation which we discussed above, directives and obligation of each country to has such law. Second, it's that every organization should implement the procedure of KYC on prevention, money laundering, and terrorist financing. The board of directors always should approve such procedure, and every organization should have responsible person to implement all the procedures of KYC. And also fully updated identification documents should be obtained for all customers. Also, KYC procedure include annual internal audit report. What is this? This report is help to understand what is real situation of KYC in the company. Also, it will give some additional information for effectiveness of internal control, of risk management role, of management information systems, about audit plan, about compliance law and its regulation, recommendations for improvement. Also, annual money laundering annual report will help to identify weakness in this procedure. Also, it will give you understanding of number of suspicious reports submitted by each employee to compliance officer. Also, it will give you understanding of information of the customers' accounts, of customers which is high-risk clients, and also information about customers identification, procedure identification. So overall, it's a report which helps to understand how KYC work inside the company. Now we will cover about client acceptance policy. So the client acceptance policy is based, first of all, on organization risk, the customer business activities and transaction, and countries of operation. So client acceptance policy is a policy which based on company operations. So it could be different from company to company and depends mainly of company business activities and company's clients. So let's talk about categorization of customers. So the categorization of clients is based on next categories: client's background, type and nature of their business activity, jurisdictions from which they came, financial information and services of company provides, level and nature of business transactions, source and destination of outgoing and incoming funds. Under the law, there are three categories of clients. First, it's high-risk clients, then normal risk clients, and low risk clients. Again, the categorization of each client is based on every organization's internal policies and procedures. And now we will talk about these three categories more closely. So we will start from high risk clients. So who is high risk clients to you? First of all, it's clients that you could not see them alive, for example, face to face. If you could not see a client face to face, definitely this client should be identified as a high-risk client. Also, private banking clients, clients who involved in electronic gambling and internet gambling, trust foundations, charities, clients from high-risk clients. For example, the list of high-risk clients each year produced by FATF. For now, there are 11 countries. Also, high-risk clients will be politically exposed persons, such as like politicians. Also, companies with bear shares and any other clients determined by the company itself to be classified as such. Please note that the information about these clients should be updated on annual basis. So every year you should update the information about the clients. Again, this list of high-risk clients is not full, and for example, in Cyprus, under Directive DI 144, this list is more Oh, sorry, there's always some problems with the sound. This list is more longer than here, but again, based on company client acceptance policy, this list could be added. Who is normal risk clients? Normal risk clients is the clients with good background, that their type and nature of business activities is clear, the country, the region is normal. For example, they came from EU countries, from well-developed Asia countries, from United States, for example. Also, that this as you know that their anticipated level and the nature of business transactions are clear. The source and the region of funds of this company or of this client, and the main rule that you have to see this client face to face. For example, the commonly asked questions, okay, if you see the client only via Skype, could this client be normal risk? Unfortunately, no. This client you always will be high risk, because even from Skype and even if in Skype you see all the documents of the client, it unfortunately under the law this client will be high risk client anyway. So, and every year you will need to update his documents. Until that time you will see him face to face in any of your offices. The information about normal risk clients should be updated every 3 years. And low risk clients, usually it's credit or financial institutions covered by the European Union directive, and listed companies who are regulated by a relevant authority in the country of origin. And the client information updating is required every 5 years. So now we will talk about due diligence. So what is due diligence? Due diligence is identification procedure for the person or legal entity with which the organization will create business relationships. So if compare due diligence with KYC, it's a little bit different. So due diligence is a procedure that you provide before creating relationship with the client, and KYC is a procedure which is coming when you already created relationship with the client and you starting to check him and his documents. So there are two types of due diligence. Normal due diligence, as equivalent, it's for normal, not for normal risk clients, and enhanced due diligence as equivalent for high risk clients. So what is identification of documents? Identification of documents, for example, for natural person, could be based on provision of, first of all, true name as stated in any official documents, for example, identity card of passport, full permanent address, uh, which you may find in internal documents or in utility bills. Also, telephone and fax numbers, email, date and place of birth, nationality, and professional background. Please note that original documents must be presented during all the checks of such documents. uh, Identification of place of residence of natural person could be based on first of all visit the place of residence, but I can tell you truthfully that this option use very rare, because you can not send your employee to visit the place of residence of your client to see if everything is okay. Also, utility bill not older than 3 months, local authority tax bill, bank statement. There you also may find information about residence of a natural person, and any other legal or valid document that can confirm the residential address. Again, please note that only original documents must be presented to you, or so original documents sent to you by post, and you may receive, if you want to receive documents as quickly as possible, you may use email, so you may receive scanned copies. But after that, please always ask the client to send you original of such documents. So what are identification documents could client present to you? Let's look how it works in Cyprus, for example. In Cyprus, under the Cyprus law, client as a physical person will need to provide you information on his public positions, so you will know, is he a PEP or no, is he a politician, for example. Also, he need to present you valid passport, official nationality identity card, and document as his proof of address. Please note that original documents or verified by the relevant embassy or by a credit or financial institution of the customer's country of residence must be presented and always retain copies. So the documents should be provided only in one of the below formats. Originals. Originals is when you may see client face to face, so he bring it to you original of documents and you may touch them, you may see that they are true. Next option is certified as true copies by an approved introducer. For example, about by notaries, by certified attorneys, by licensed service providers, and for also apostilled or notarized copies. Please note that usually in most cases, all such documents must be translated into English or to the language of country of origin where your company is operating. Please note that you should never use and accept the same identification document for proof of address and proof of identity. Each document should be used for only one identification purpose each time. So, for example, if the person provides you internal passport and said to you that please use it as my identification and proof of address, no, you could not do it. You should tell the client that please provide to us any second document which will be the proof of your address or proof of your identity, because one document is valid only for one category. So what is identification procedure for high-risk clients enhanced due diligence? It is a process of investigation over and above KYC procedure that supports your decision and mitigate some business risks. So this procedure includes requests of some additional identification documents, also research for the source of funds of wealth of the customer, also corroborate the customer's reputation through references or other resources, and also enhance monitoring of the business relationship and transactions. Enhanced due diligence for source of funds could be identified with the below information. For example, employment income, savings, deposits, property sales, sales of share of investments, loan, company sale, company profits, dividends. All these procedures could be proved by relevant documents. So if it's property sale, please ask the client to provide the contract of such sale. If it's loan, again the same. Company sale, the same. Employment income, please ask the client to provide, for example, incoming transactions of his card. So you will see that the money that he owns for now is from his employment. Also enhanced due diligence for proof of identity could be identified with the below additional information. First of all, it's second photographic ID. Such document, for example, could be driving license or any other document with picture. Also CV. So when we will receive CV, we will see the background of our client and we will understand his past background, sorry, bank reference letter, which will confirm to us that the client has open bank account, so he somewhere he saved his money. Also information about his economic profile. And you also may ask some documents based on case-by-case analysis. For example, certificate from government authorities that such person has no any convictions or has paid all taxes and that he is clean in this country and so on. So you may ask the client to provide any additional documents which you think will be relevant in this case. Also, there are some key factors that has influence to the formation of client's risk. It's jurisdiction of legal entity, as I told you previously, that FATF every year put the list of blacklist countries where there is like a really big risk of money laundering. For now, there is 11 countries such as Trinidad and Tobago, Lebanon, Korea, and so on. Also, key factor is a country of nationality and operations of the client, because as you know, many countries are really highly corrupted, and you should check if the country of origin of the company or of the client is normal country or is really corrupt country. So you need to check the client more, and also different regulations per country as well. So if your client is legal entity, what documents you need to ask him to provide? So here's a list. First of all is certificate of incorporation. Also certificate of registered offices. Again, this certificate not provided in all jurisdictions, but still you may ask to provide it, and the client will provide you some document which will state their registered address. Also certificate of directors and secretaries, the same that with registered office. Certificate of shareholders, certificate of good standing, certificate of incumbency, memorandum, first directors minutes report, and declaration of trust or indemnity agreement if such available. Again, all these certificates could be separate in some jurisdictions. In some jurisdictions, all this information could be mentioned just only in one certificate. So again, you may ask the client that you need such and such information about the legal entity, and he will provide you the relevant certificate, because, for example, you may not know which exactly certificate will provide you information, for example, about registered office or about shareholders. If at any time the compliance officer of any organization will identify that there is something missing in identification documents, or he need to provide some additional investigation, he or she may request client to provide some additional documents in order to examine them regardless connection to money laundering, tax evasion, or terrorist financing. So it's legal if your compliance officer will ask to provide any additional information. So now we will see the reasons for termination a business relationship. First of all, why you should do it. You should do it because, first of all, your company or yourself, you must protect yourself and you must protect your reputation. So if your client and if you will see that your client has some unusual transactions, change in company structures about which he didn't inform you, change to operates of customer accounts, if the client cannot verify the authenticity of his signature, or he refused to submit you required information and documents, please inform the client that you will terminate the business relationship because of this. And if again the clients will not provide you with relevant comments, please terminate such business ship relations. Also, when you provide KYC of your clients, you should not forget about customer identification. You also should not forget about record keeping. So all documents that you receive from the client, you should save them properly. You also should have internal reporting. So if any of your employee has any suspicions that such client may be involved in money laundering, terrorist financing, tax evasion, or in any other illegal action, he should inform your compliance officer about this, and then compliance officer will decide what to do next with such client. Also, internal control and risk assessment must be presented. You should keep employees fully updated and trained regarding the procedures of money laundering and terrorist financing. And also you should provide seminars for better understanding of your staff, what is KYC, what is due diligence, what is compliance, and what is anti-money laundering strategy as well. Please note that every compliance officer in every company obligate to identify the ultimate beneficial owner of a group structure of all companies. So if the client told you that, okay, UBO is legal entity, it's false. Every time, in every situation, some physical person is stand by any legal entity, and the duty of compliance officer is to identify who is this last person, who is ultimate beneficial owner of group of companies, in order to understand with whom really your company deals with. So if you have corporate directors or corporate shareholders, every time you should know who is standing back of these companies. Now we will see about this. Now we will discuss business risks. So business risks include bear shares, political exposed persons, simply politicians, cash intensive business, again nationality country risk that we discussed before, customer behavior, again we discuss it then when the client refuses to provide you some information, complex structures, it's when legal entity has in its structure some more legal entities like corporate shareholder, corporate director, or several of them. Also, strange customers relations, high risk customer business, and duration of relationship. Also, there are some product and service risks. Such risks include internet banking accounts and private bankings. Also, service that include banknotes and metal trading. Also, products that encourage known face-to-face access. Again, everything that connect with internet sales, and products that keep the customer anonymous. For example, prepaid cards. Also, you should pay more attention to such clients. Also, delivery channels risks. For example, if the client deals with some alternatively delivery channels, you should pay more attention to this client, because you know that he will never see his clients alive, and also indirect relationship with customers via professional intermediaries or agents. If your customers deal with the clients by using some agents, again please pay more attention to such client because he has no direct connection to his clients as well. So countries and jurisdiction risks. To this category also should include countries which are subject to sanctions or embargoes by EU and UN. For example, now some sanctions imposed to Russian Federation, to Belarus, to Greece as well, also to highly corrupt countries and countries with not stable political situations such as Syria, Lebanon, Mexico. So please pay attention to this. Also identify by credible sources as not having adequate anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financial measures. Again, please refer to FATF. In their website, you may find all the information about such countries because there are like really big list of such countries. Also identified by the representative authorities of the country of origin as having significant level of corruption or other criminal activity. I may tell you that, for example, former CIS countries such as Belarus, Ukraine, Russia, Moldova, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, and so on, they categorized by FATF as countries with high level of corruption. So you should pay more attention to beneficial owners who come from these countries. Also identified by the representative authorities of country of origin as providing or support terrorism or terrorist activities. For now, by US government, there are mentioned only 6 countries as such. It's Korea, it's Iran, also Syria as well. So what are the cases where risk can be mitigated? First of all, it's countries, it's situation where implement policies and procedure in compliance with the law and regulations. For example, EU countries. Also measures in order to meet the requirements of law and regulations, implementation of the procedures as required by the law and regulation, and implement recommendations of supervisory authorities as part of overall guidelines and perhaps as part of specific audit. So if your company have client acceptance policy, definitely you will mitigate any risks that had been discussed previously. Also, there are some measures and controls that reduce risks. First of all, it's increase the level of ongoing control and reviews of relationships on the basis of high risk, normal risk, and low risk clients. Also, increase awareness of higher risk situation within business lines. Also, appoint a compliance officer to design and overview the client acceptance policy and provide KYC and due diligence procedure as well, and annual internal audits that will help you to understand if your client acceptance policy, due diligence, and KYC is working properly. Record keeping. It's a gold rule that every organization must keep records of all documents and information obtained from individual person or company or corporate entities. In general, it's mentioned 5 years old period during which documents must be kept. All documents must be available in case if any government authority will request them for review. All documents must be kept in original or certified as true copies or notarized or apostilled, and all documents must be translated in the language of the country of operations, or usually simply use English language. So now we will discuss elements for clients identification. First of all, it's personal information that you obtain from the client, business information, and financial information. So, personal information, what does it include? It includes full name and surname of the client, permanent resident address, occupation, professional experience, relationship between the signatories of the company and the UBO, and reason of relationship with the client to understand the company's activity and the group's structure. Business information. Business information is information about business activity of the company, allocation of business activities, nature and level of business, and also establishing and identifying the business relationships between them and the business model. And the last one is financial information. So financial information include a level and nature of activity, origin of income and funds, source of wealth, which we discussed previously, also expected annual income level, destination and amount of outgoing and incoming payments of funds, and whether the transaction constitute any grounds for suspicion of money laundering, terrorist financing, or, for example, tax evasion as well. So also there are some requirements on KYC when you registered a foreign company. So foreign company registration, you will need to know about jurisdiction, risks, business activities. So you will need to know information about directors, shareholders, company structure, a registered address, and individual corporate entities that involved in company structure as well. Again, all this information discussed mentioned above may be indicated in one document or in different documents. Again, it depends on each jurisdiction. If we are talking about physical person, next information you will need. First of all, it's his nationality. also ID, so his documents like passport, internal passport, driving license, proof of residence such as utility bill, bank reference letter, or any other document, rental agreement, professional background, his CV, and financial activities. Again, bank reference letter could help you with this. Additional source of information for foreign companies. First of all, it's corresponding authority in the companies or the legal person's country of incorporation, and also request information from other sources in order to establish that the applicant company is in good standing. You may receive this information from the internet as well, so you may try to find some information about the company, about the UBO or shareholder and director. Also, please check company register, so you will see if all taxes paid, if company is alive, it's not under liquidation, and so on. So please do not forget to check all the information in the internet, because in some situations, believe me, you may find some interesting information about the client, which could help you to build good relationship with such client. If KYC during bank account opening, it's mainly the same as we discussed. So and KYC in its nature came from bank sector. KYC is being used by the bank in order to provide exact and accurate information for them as individuals and for their companies. So again, KYC procedure for bank account opening, it is the same as KYC in any other company. It's also implement appropriate controls for the detection of risk, become more sufficient when it comes suspicions. It help mitigate risk, comply with law, directives, and other. For bank account opening, every bank will ask to provide identification documents of the signatory of the company, UBO, and company director shareholders. Also, every bank will ask you to provide supporting documentation for business activities, source of funds, transactions, and expected turnovers, and incoming and outgoing payments and transactions. So bank will know is your business is alive or it just bank account for a shelf company. So be prepared for this as well. Cases where profound know your client procedure is applicable is cases where you have high-risk clients, suspicious transactions, where client refused to provide any second ID, and different activities from those initially mentioned. Where you should reject the client, definitely. You need to stop providing any services to the client and reject the client if he provides you incorrect information, if he provides you no suitable explanation about his transactions or about his activity, if he refused to provide accurate documents and information to prove any transaction or to prove any changes in his company structure, and when there are indication for illegal activities and terrorism. So stop to provide any services to such clients. First of all, you will protect yourself from any bad consequences. So if you see such clients or you deal with such clients, stop doing this. Next slide. Suspicious reported. So if you have compliance officer in your structure inside your company, definitely he will provide some suspicious reporting. So suspicious reporting is a procedure or a situation where a suspicion in the organization that a client may be involved or is involved in illegal activity such as money laundering, terrorist financial, then these indications should be reported to the compliance officer of the company. So each employee could make such report to your compliance officer. After this, compliance officer must report the suspicious to the relevant governmental authority of the country. For example, in Cyprus, it's MOCOS. Again, in each country, it depends to which authority compliance officer must report, and again, in each country it varies. Must compliance officer report about such suspicion to any government authority or no? So again, your compliance officer should be aware about these regulations, and he should know all the rules about such reporting. Please note that if your organization make any report suspicious to legal authority, you should not inform the client that you make such report. Otherwise, you will be liable under the law. So such situation is called tipping off. So tipping off, it's a process when a person discloses information to a third party, such as client, for suspicions related to money laundering that have been already reported to the reasonable authority, or makes a disclosure which may impede or produce the interrogation and investigation carried out in respect of prescribed offenses. So please never tell your client that you make any report regarding him or his business. It's prohibited. Otherwise, you also will be liable under the law, and big sum of fines government authority could impose to your company and to compliance officer as well. So let's sum up. So KYC and due diligence procedure are important for every organization that respect itself. The better you know the client, the better you could protect your company and your reputation. Also, please note that we, as corporate service providers, we offer wide services such as registration, immigration services, Cyprus property services, international tax planning. Also, we provide external compliance training and compliance check, legal services. Also, please visit our websites if you have some additional questions. Also, we have several offices, so you may contact us in Cyprus, Singapore, Russia, Ukraine, United Kingdom, and now we are also opening office in Hong Kong as well. Thank you for your attention. If you have any comments or questions, you may contact via our email info tag eltoma-global.com, and after the webinar I will be glad to answer your questions. Thank you for your time. Have a good day ahead. See you soon. Bye.